Gandhi said, a man's life is often determined by the way he thinks about himself. If he thinks he can't do something, then he ends up in reality not being able to do it. The wonderful thing about possibilities is simply this. You don't have to choose to take them, or you don't have to change what you're already doing, or you can simply just be open to the fact that possibilities do exist. This gives you a greater vision, it gives you more knowledge, it gives you options, it gives you a greater sense of resolve. People often say that I'm an optimist because I try to look for the best in everybody, and I try to look for the lesson in everything. When things happen in life, I look and I go, what is the lesson in this for me? Rather than, why is this happening to me? So tonight I want to say to you, look for opportunities in tough situations. Avoid the victim mentality, and opt instead to look for the ready for a new beginning attitude. You know, Sound of Music? When one door closes, then God opens up a fabulous window for us, something new, something exciting. And in this attitude, a change in our attitudinal muscles, okay, our attitudinal muscles, we need to remove something from our life that doesn't serve us any longer. Whether that's a job, whether that's a relationship, whatever, a habit, whatever it is, when we remove what doesn't serve us, our lives any longer, we make room for something better and something new. You never know what you might let in once you let something go. What if, and I'm just what ifing, if it were possible to move your present mental and physical limitations to access a infinite possibility that radical change could come into your life. Changing your attitude is possible, and it may be difficult in some cases. You've got to practice doing it. You've got to explore what the root cause is of your current attitude. Do you know that your brain has 10 billion neurons, and it has 100 trillion connections. But the DMN and the part of the web of our activity, there is tremendous evidence that shows that there's no fixed connection. The connections aren't fixed. So what am I saying? In this network and the one's sense of self, it can be disrupted. It can be disrupted by psychedelics, be disrupted by drugs, opioids. It could be disrupted by meditation. It could be disrupted by creativity. And that disruptiveness in our brain can make it possible to reconstitute our sense of who we are. I work with people that are in addiction a lot, and they say, I can't be anything else. It's not possible. And I say, you can, by meditation, by creativity, by letting go of what doesn't serve you, you can, and it is possible to reconstitute a sense of who you are. Instead of being an addict, you could be a recovering addict with the emphasis on the recovering. Let me ask you a question now. Are you open to change? Do you believe you can change? Are you committed to change? I know people often say, oh yes, I'm committed to change. Really? But being committed to change requires us to track our progress and to ensure that change is happening. We can't just say, "Oh, I'm open to change." If we're committed to change, there's evidence of that commitment by the things that we do. It's important, folks, to make a distinction between what is wishful thinking and a hopeful stance on commitment and possibility thinking, which is the commitment, a commitment to manifesting what one is imaging. What you think in your mind and what you believe in your heart, and those are the things that you become. Now, let's do the flip side. The impossibility thinker only sees problems, only sees roadblocks, only sees barriers. The possibility thinking sees the possibility that it just could be, it just might be. You know the car you drive? Well, Henry Ford, he was broke 5 times, and his early businesses failed. And now, what is it? Ford Motor Company is one of the best companies in the world. Anybody been to Disneyland, Disney World? Watch a lot of the movies that we've had. Walt Disney, y'all know the name Walt Disney. Walt Disney was fired by his newspaper editor because he lacked vision and lacked creativity. And something you may not know, his first businesses went bankrupt, and he had a number of businesses that failed. What about the early days when we would light candles, not just for romantic dinners like I tend to do now? I love romance. But we lit candles and we lit fire so we could keep warm and so we could see. Then Thomas Edison comes along. You know, the light bulb, the electricity, the light that I have now that's shining on us. Well, Edison's teacher said, quote, he was too stupid to learn anything. Too stupid. He got fired from 2 of his jobs because he was unproductive. And guess what? He failed 1,000 times with his inventions. Failing is a beginning point, this time wiser than we were before, not a quitting point. Remember, you minus negative thinking equals infinite opportunities. Y'all like baseball? You all like football? You like sports? You like basketball? If I tell you the name Michael Jordan, all of you know who Michael Jordan is, known as the best basketball player of all time. But did you know that Michael Jordan was kicked off the high school basketball team? He missed more than 9,000 shots and lost 300 games. I think I'll just eat a worm and quit and die. I won't pursue my dream any longer. Because beat down, didn't see the possibilities, but he saw the possibility. He was committed to the possibility. What possibility are you committed to? You know, change, believe me, I know change. Look at me, I know change. Change is uncomfortable, and it takes effort. It takes energy to adapt, a whole mental effort to learn new things. You know, as children, we're constantly in this effort growth process, but as we get older, we become less flexible and more fixed in our ways, okay? We need to come to a place where we are comfortable with our discomfort. Can I say that again? Where we become comfortable in our discomfort, and it's a skill we need to learn to practice, especially as we get older. But we get older and we don't feel as, we don't want to feel incompetent. We don't want to feel like it takes us back to square one. Our ego, yes, ego, keeps us stuck when we expect ourselves to be experts and to gauge our worth based on our performance. Being a beginner requires vulnerability, and most of us resist the emotion that it takes to feel that vulnerability, and it can be challenging, believe me. I gave a talk last night, and in giving the talk last night, the tears began to run down my face because it was a new talk on parts of my life, and I felt vulnerable. We don't like the feeling that others are controlling us. And sometimes when you're going through changes or growing through changes, it feels like others are controlling you. Change is a choice. Maybe you feel like your change is one that's being forced on you. Maybe a location, maybe a job, maybe a relationship, and you battle it because you feel like you don't have any control in it. I understand that. People engage in behaviors that serve their purpose. Can I say that again? People engage in behaviors that serve their purpose. We engage in behaviors that provide something for us. So, what are you avoiding in doing the change? Yes, ego-wise, it's often comfortable just to stay on a job you don't like, stay in a relationship that's not working. I know those too, believe me. Rather than look at the